G'day everyone and welcome back to another video. In this video what I'm going to be doing is taking you through my boat setup, what we've done and what I plan to do to it in the future. Let's get started. So before we start, I guess I want to talk about why I decided to buy a boat. I guess growing up, humble beginnings, my parents never owned a boat, so all of my fishing growing up as a kid was all done land-based until about the age of 16, I think, when I brought my first Hobie. 26 now, 10 years later, and thought it was about time that I bite the bullet. I haven't looked back. This thing is amazing. I really have learnt so much over the past 10 years fishing out of the kayaks and doing a heap of non-boater comps. I think it's my time to sort of take a bit of a step up and have a bit of a go at some of that for myself. I guess over the past 18 months I've been doing a lot of cod fishing, and trying to throw big baits out of the kayak with long rods can be a little bit tricky, and I figured this is going to be an awesome platform for that. I guess the reason that I brought a tinny instead of an old bass boat, there's a couple of reasons to it. Firstly, I wanted something new that I could just have everything my own, and I could build it from the ground up. Pretty much means that if anything goes wrong, I know sort of how to fix it roughly. Not the best with all that sort of thing. I can do all the electrical stuff, but just sort of wanted to have an understanding of how everything was set up in the boat. So if anything ever happened, I could sort of do it myself. I guess this is my first boat, so I wanted the tinny for something that I could throw around. If I hit stuff, it's not going to break. I'm not going to take a big chunk out of fiberglass or anything like that. And it's got a 50 Merc on the back. It's not the most thirsty motor. It's pretty fuel efficient, which is awesome. And another sort of reason why I went that way. Another reason why I went for a tinny like this instead of a bass boat was I don't have the room for storage at the moment. We're still living in a little townhouse down in Melbourne, so don't have much room between the back wall and the garage roller door. This tinny fits in perfectly. It's about 5.5 metres long. I think I've got 5.8 metres between the back wall and the roller door at home. So we did have to add a swing away drawbar on the front of the trailer, but more than happy to do that for the peace of mind knowing that it was going to fit bringing it home. And when we first got it back, I was a little bit iffy, but as soon as that tucked away, piece of cake, no stress at all, and haven't looked back. It's been awesome. So I brought this boat through Melbourne Marine. It's an Assault Pro 429, and I absolutely love it. It's a really cool setup. It's got the side console over here. When all the boats that they had stock come with a Lowrance sounder sort of mounted in the screen. Wasn't a big fan of that. It wasn't very sturdy, and I already had my Humminbird that I was going to mount onto there, so got them to strip all that out. And when I brought the boat, they really had to do nothing additional to it, apart from slap a spare wheel on, and they got the swing away drawbar done externally. When I got the boat, there was pretty much nothing on it. It was stock and pretty much ready to go. So we built it from the ground up. I say we, but Chris from GFab's done pretty much all the work, and I'm just going to claim it as my own. But no, this thing is awesome. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump out of the boat. I'm going to take the camera with me. I'm going to do a bit of a walk around and show you everything that we've done. I'm going to start at the back of the boat and work our way through, and just talk about everything that we've done and a few of the plans that I have heading forward as well. Alright, let's jump in. Alright, so before we start, here's the boat. This is what it looks like. It's in the shed at the moment, in the garage at the moment. As you can see, sort of doesn't fit between the back door and the roller door, so I had to add the swing away drawbar so it would fit. couple of reasons why I went this model and not the, I think the model underneath was a Pro line or something like that. So this one comes with a solid trailer. For the amount of trips that we do on the road, I wanted something that was going to be sturdy and no salt water is going to sit inside this frame. So I know that most of my fishing at the moment has been freshwater, but I do plan to do a fair bit of broom fishing in the future. So really trying to minimise the amount of corrosion that can happen inside the trailer, and this thing seems super sturdy. So I've got Chris from GFab to build a little bit of a plate and added these boat buckles to it. They are super duper easy to use. If you haven't seen them before, it just replaces the standard ratchet strap. So you just push this little knob there, no tension at all, and loosens that up, easy. Take it out, she slides down, then she tucks out of the way. Just added sort of a little bit of carpet on there to minimise the chance of wear. So the next thing that I got Chris to do was install the power pole bracket from off the back of my Hobie onto the back of the boat, and that's where the power pole micro unit is going to attach onto there, and the fiberglass pole fits in the rod locker. It's 8 foot something long, but plenty of room there. So I think it's going to be okay to sort of trial. I think it's going to be fine for like on the flats, up shallow, like on sand and mud. It's going to be no worries. It'll sort of hold in relatively calm conditions. But I think when she starts to get real rough, she's not going to hold, and I won't even bother trying to deploy it. I think I'll get a pair of Raptors, or at least a Raptor to go on the back down the track. But for the moment, that'll do the job. Let's jump in and have a look at what's up next. Alright, so the next thing we did probably seems really simple, but when these boats come stock, the seats and the way that they sit super duper high. Like my knees were up above the top of the steering wheel, and just felt real uncomfortable to sort of drive around in. It was fine for the first sort of trip or two, but it was really irritating. As you can sort of see, all the wiring and stuff, I haven't run that yet. Haven't really had a chance, it's all just running straight to the battery box. But school holidays is about a week away and I'll get that sorted then. So anyway, we cut both of those down and now you sit really quite nicely in the seat. Probably not going to be able to see it in the camera. Knees tuck in nicely and then you can drive, no stress. So the next thing I got him to do was build this solid plate here, and that was because this plastic here is about 2 mil, really thin, and it just wasn't going to be able to handle the weight of the Humminbird 10 that I wanted to put on. This is straight off my kayak, so it's not going to be a permanent, it's going to be swapped out, and I'll run probably a 12 on there down the track. So moving on, the next thing, and probably one of my favourite things in the boat, not going to be able to see it super well, is the rod locker. This thing is absolutely huge down the end. Originally, the hole where you used to tuck the rods used to be tiny, like used to take up like that much space down the end. And now Chris has opened it right up, and there's so much room for rods. Like, it's going to be awesome. So last week what I did is I threw in all my heavy, my cod gear, and then I put my broom gear on top, and it came up to this shelf here, which is where the original rod locker used to come up to. And that was, I think, about 18 rods fit in there, piece of cake. Obviously, if you want to look after them, put real bags on them. I've lost a couple, I think I left them at home somewhere, and your rod socks, just to protect everything. One of my favourite little pieces of the whole boat is this little edging here. It's really hard to sort of see from where I am, but I can sort of tuck the camera down. This edging here was where the original rod locker used to go to, so the lid used to be here, it used to open up, and it was really pokey to try and get some big reels in. Was really struggling with some of the big bait casters, trying to get them in and out with the big baits on them. They just sort of get tangled up and not really go in that nicely, but now he's opened it up, there's so much room through here. Fit a big reel, no stress, and a big rod. At the moment, the longest rod that I've got in there is the 7'10" Dream Freak, but I also have my micro power pole tucked in there, and I think that's 8 foot or 8'6" or something, and there's still another another 1.5 foot easy up the end. So that thing's awesome. I guess another thing that I wanted done was putting in lockable latches. When we were doing a lot of the trips overnight, I was just a little bit concerned about keeping tackle and all that sort of thing in the boat, especially when all the big swim baits and stuff are got some pretty big price point to them. So all of the new stuff has locks on them, and we'll get a few more up the front as well. Originally when I got the boat, the only thing that I really didn't like was the lack of storage. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to extend the deck, just for a bit more room, but also to give us some increased storage. So what we've got is 2 hatches here. This is where I keep pretty much all of my tackle. All of my brim gear pretty much lives in this side, fits into 2 tackle boxes, no stress. I've taken them out just because I'm up chasing cod this weekend, and all of my freshwater stuff fits in the other side, easy as. Just got 2 big buckets full of, the one on the left's full of swim baits, the other one's got some top waters and some cranks and that sort of stuff, and then got some spinner baits and all your other little terminal bits and pieces over to the side. And they're both gas strut, so they hold themselves up, and lockable as well. Probably the only thing that I might change about the boat down the track is turning both of these doors just into like one big single door, and just removing a pair of hinges from up the top, but that's neither here nor there. There's always tweaking little bits as we go. Next up, one of my favourite pieces of kit in the whole boat is this so simple but a little Dometic esky tucked up into this hatch. Just awesome. I used to get so sick, and I absolutely hated hot water on the kayak. There was a lack of storage room, and it always just ended up hot because you couldn't tuck it away. Storage for an esky in this hatch here is just awesome. Freeze a couple of bottles of water, tuck it in, and it'll keep everything else cold. Nice to sort of carry around a sandwich as well, and all that sort of stuff, and know that it's all sweet. A couple of iced coffees or whatever for those long days. And she's just sweet. So that is one of my favourite pieces of kit on the whole boat, just to be able to tuck that away. So such a handy little feature. Moving forward, so that's all the new stuff. I can't even get it all in. I'll stand right at the back of the boat. Right, so the original boat used to go to there. That's where the front deck used to be. Everything from here on back is all new, so much more room. So moving forward, originally in the front deck, this hatch here was designed to be the live well. I was never really a big fan of that. Didn't want an extra 80 to, I don't know, it's probably an 80 litre, 100 litre live well up in the front of the boat. It's pretty big. You could almost curl up and tuck in there, no stress. Didn't really want that to be, to have an extra 100 kilos up the front of the boat. So down the track, I'll talk about that in a minute. I'm going to build a live well to go down the back of the boat. That's sort of the next project down the track. But at the moment, this is just sort of storage. So it's got some mag drafts in there, just life jackets, and keep my camera gear, keep the tripod, and some wet weather gear and that sort of stuff in that one. Over this side is where I keep just some extra fuel and some food and that sort of stuff tucked away for the day. And over the other side we have the BLA lithium battery. So that, as you can see, those rods, there's still a foot of room at the end of them. Heaps of extra clearance. Anyway, this is the BLA lithium battery, 24 volt, 100 amp battery to run the Minn Kota Ultrex. It's the 80 pound iPilot, 54 inch model, and she's pretty sweet. So that's the battery for that. I will sort of run through the hull there and up to the front of the boat. Originally when I brought this boat, the one thing that I hated about it, the front hatch used to run across here and used to open across the boat. So used to have this tub liner in it where you used to put your anchor and all that sort of stuff, but it used to fold up and across. But my issue with that was I always wanted to run the recessed foot pedal, just because long hours on the water, not sort of standing up with your foot all day on the foot pedal. So what Chris did was add a square frame underneath for the additional support, which joined onto all the rest of the framing underneath, and that allows us to add this hatch here that now lifts up towards the front unit and gives us this recessed foot pedal with all the cabling tucked away nicely and neatly underneath. Up the front of the boat, we've got the Humminbird Helix 15. She's a big girl. Still got the screen protector on it, only used it a couple of times, but I really look forward to this. I brought the big screen because just last night I put through the order for a Mega Live unit, which is going to be sitting here, so wanted the big screen to do all that sort of stuff, have a bit of a play around, maybe do a split screen with some mapping on one side. So wanted the big screen up the front to just be able to do all of that. And underneath the unit we've got one of Chris's GFab unit mounts down here. Pretty solid little thing. At the moment it's a single, but what I will end up doing is getting a double unit mount from him, so I can run 2 screens. Not sure if I'll run a 15 and a 15 or a 15 and 12. Eventually when I get Mega Live I'll run that here, but I'll probably run 360 as well. Love the idea of running all of that in one sort of space. But anyway, budget's tight, and you know, humble beginnings. Start off, you know, earn your stripes and go from there. Also got a little spotlight up the front, just going to make some of those early morning trips across the lake nice and safe. But yeah, that's pretty much it. GPS puck for that just there, and that seems to hold you in pretty good positioning. Alright, so we've done a couple of other things. This little panel in here used to have one of the seat holes in it for these gigantic seats that they come with, and we just deleted that section out. Didn't think it was really necessary. Got the rod strap down in here, strap down rods, just for when she gets rough. You never want to lose a rod over the side. I'll probably run another one over the other side down the track, but that's pretty happy with that for now. And as I said when I first brought the boat, that was the size of the front deck. Still plenty of room to fish, probably be pushing it for 2 people up there, but what she is now is she's absolutely massive, and I love it. It's so cool. Chris did a really great job. The only other thing that I really want to do in this back portion of the boat is build a live well. So I want to extend it the same level as this bottom portion, run it out to about where the end of this seat is, and run a big tank in probably where that sort of battery panel comes in. Something like that, just over halfway, but I want it to be a nice big live well. I want to keep the weight down the back of the boat, just to try and limit speed loss and all that sort of thing. Didn't really want another 80 to 100 kilos or whatever up the front of the boat. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to mount the seat to the top of that flooring, have it so it can fold back, and then run batteries underneath the seat, probably over this side, just to try and counteract the weight. Got a fuel tank in the back corner, and this pokey little live well at the moment, which probably would be pushing to hold 2 kilo brim in it. Had a good one in it the other day, and she was sort of a little bit curled up. Like, I've got a bigger live well in my kayak, so I'm not super impressed with that. But anyway, that's all good, not the end of the world. But that's pretty much the only thing I want to do is add a little portion in here, just so we can add a live well down the track. But at the moment, heading into winter, want to get into the cod fishing, so just wanted the main deck and stuff working, and really happy with how it's all turned out so far. Alright, so I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thanks everyone for watching. A massive shout out to Chris at GFab Engineering for doing all the work on the boat. You've transformed this thing from what it is stock into a mini bass boat, and I'm really grateful. And a massive shout out to Lee and Jamie at Melbourne Marine for all your help as well. Truly appreciated. Alright, signing off. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. It's something a little bit different. If you ever need any products for your boat, please send Chris a message at GFab Engineering on Facebook and Instagram. He does some pretty cool stuff. You'll see that he does a Mega Live transducer pole dual unit mounts for up the front of your boat, and does have some other cool stuff in the pipes, so keep an eye out for those. Hopefully they're not too far off, because I definitely want one of what he's got coming on the front of my boat in the not too distant future, but I'll leave that there. Hopefully he can get it sorted. So anyway, thanks guys for watching. I really appreciate you sticking around, and if you have any questions, please reach out. I'm more than happy to help. Awesome. I'm gonna get some rods rigged up, and I'm heading fishing tomorrow. I'll see you in the next video.